Apple AI sounds exciting, but here's why it might fail.
Welcome to the All Future Podcast, where we talk about tech in the future throughout the week. Thank you to everyone who's been subscribing. I remember last week I was like, I hope we can hit 1,500 subscribers, and we just blew past that. I think we're at like 1,900 or something now. So on the road to 2,000.
Thank you, everyone.
So thank you, everyone, for subscribing. We appreciate you guys listening to us. And today, more AI stuff, more Apple stuff, more Google stuff, more Microsoft stuff, the government. We're hitting everything with this video. So what is going on right now where Apple's placement in the space relative to Google and what they're doing?
Apple is supposedly coming out with AI, coming WWDC. It's pretty hinted at by them and everyone in all of the rumors that they're going to be releasing something. But the latest rumor is they're not working on their own chatbot. They're going to be partnering on a chatbot, and their main partner in mind right now is Google Gemini. They've talked with OpenAI. They've talked, I think, with Microsoft as well. There might have been another company. And then they've talked with Google. They seem to be the biggest contender. And then Baidu overseas for Chinese iPhones. And then they're going to be working on their own AI stuff, but it seems to be more of the like on-device stuff that Apple is actually working on themselves. So today we're kind of talking about how Google is going to be just dominating here.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I think Google, if you look at it from a public point of view, is well ahead of Apple in this space. Really, the conversation is constantly Google and Microsoft, and by extension, OpenAI, since Microsoft's so heavily invested in them. But some things that Google has kind of released recently is more AI photo stuff, which is a thing that I keep hitting on, and I think is the part of AI that's going to get the most kind of regular consumers excited. They've just released this thing that if you're a Google One subscriber, which is like their $1.99 a month kind of thing to get extra storage space and all these kind of extra features, you're going to get these AI features. And then if you actually own a Pixel or a Chromebook, it kind of comes with it.
Interesting.
But some of these, features include things like removing unwanted objects from the background, kind of the standard trick that all these AIs do. The other one is you take, multiple pictures of the same image. It's like a group of people. And, you always have one guy who looks bad in one picture, but better in the other. This will kind of like meld those together so everyone looks great in the same picture. Different features like that. So that's, I think, obviously something that Apple is probably going to be integrating into their stuff. The question really is are they going to be able to do this themselves? Are they going to have to outsource this to Google? Are they going to do this on device, or is it going to go up to the cloud, which is kind of what these other AI companies kind of prefer? So that's kind of where we're at with it. Yeah, like what's your kind of read on all this stuff, and is Apple really getting left behind by all this stuff?
Well, yes, it seems like they are at this point being left behind, especially considering Google not only has this very integrated, but they're charging a membership fee for it. So people must be willing to pay for these upgrades, at least to a certain degree. And it's kind of a bonus that you get with that subscription. But there's a lot of other ways that Apple has already done certain features like this. At the time, they would call it machine learning. But you can find stuff in your Photos app pretty easily. You search for drums, you search for cat, you search for...
And that's something I feel like people don't even realize that that's built into Apple Photos. Like it's so funny. Like, in this kind of world, people who probably watch this, and me and you, we're used to dealing with the technology and stuff. But the average person out there, I think, doesn't know that you can just contextually search your photo library on your phone. I show that to people all the time when they're like, "Oh, I'm trying to find a picture." I'm like, "Oh, why don't you just search?" And they're like, "What should I search?" I was like, "The exact thing you're looking for. Like, if you're looking for a picture of your dog, type dog on the sunny day or whatever, and it'll find that picture." And then Apple do a thing where it'll identify things in a picture. If you take a picture of a flower, you can hit the little information button and it'll tell you what kind of flower it is. All these kind of things, which again, Apple in the past has kind of called this machine learning, different kind of names for it. But generally, people will call that AI now. So all that stuff is there already. It's just, I feel like Apple's done a bad job of marketing this. That's why I wonder if the kind of narrative of Apple is behind in AI. Is it more Apple's behind in kind of the mind share of it, right? Like it's like in the popular perception of it, Apple is behind. But really, what can you do on, say, a Pixel or an Android phone with AI that you can't do on an iPhone right now? Almost nothing. There's almost nothing that they can't do, whether natively in the OS or through just downloading an app that does it. All these apps we've been talking about, Gemini, ChatGPT, yeah, you can just download them and use them on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't,
Totally.
or just through Safari, right? So it doesn't even matter that it's not there. The real kind of story here is when are these companies going to start making something truly proprietary, right? That really sections them off. There's this concept of AI agents. Do you know what this thing is? Have you heard of this?
I've heard about this.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's this idea of like an AI that can learn a certain task really well, a certain category of task really well, and then repeat that in adjacent task or monitor other AI that are supposed to do that task. So it's almost making an AI overlord for your AIs, I guess.
Yeah.
Or making a expert AI that's like hyper focused on one thing because it learned from a model that was adjacent to whatever you're trying to get it to do. This seems kind of cool. And I think this is a way if people start developing these hyper specific AIs that these companies can differentiate themselves.
Yeah. One example they gave is that it could play a video game and train to play this video game and then go play a different game without any information about it, and it would learn how to play that game based on the info it knows about the other one, which is totally how human beings learn for everything. So it's a really kind of seen as the next step for AI beyond like OpenAI's ChatGPT and all the stuff that we're used to seeing at this point. This is kind of seen as the next step where it can actually replace human jobs, replace actual specific things that we have to do.
Yes. You know, some other examples of this is that you have the AI tax guy, accountant guy or something, right?
Yeah.
Have your AI accountant, and instead of having to pay an accountant service and all this kind of stuff, this AI agent is hyper trained on this one kind of thing, and then it knows how to do taxes. It knows about the world and what's going on. So it's easy for transfer to you and your specific business or tax situation or whatever it is.
TurboTax could have a tier up with that, and you have an agent
and they're absolutely going to have that, right?
Yeah.
And you think about the cost. Me and you both kind of run our own businesses and have to deal with all this sort of stuff, and it's a pain to deal with this because it's a world that is a labyrinth to the average human, right? Like accountants and lawyers have built this system that's hard for us to penetrate as regular people. So you have to pay them to do stuff. And instead of paying thousands of dollars for accounting and bookkeeping, can I pay $20 a month for an AI and it does it all? I'm gonna probably do that, even though that's obviously going to cost jobs and things like that. The lopsided incentive of it is just crazy, right? There's so many benefits to using this type of AI. And again, this is the type of AI that's really going to set things apart. Not the AI that is really just showing people parlor trick kind of stuff right now, which is a lot of what AI is. You go to ChatGPT and you show people like, oh, write me the history of my town in a talk like a pirate while you do it or something. And people are like, oh, that's funny. That's cool. But if you show someone like, hey, I had an AI do my taxes, they go, oh, dang. This seems way cooler.
And I showed it to my tax guy and he said it was great.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And it cost me 1/10 of the cost. Right. Like then all of a sudden you can really make a difference in getting AI into people's lives.
Yeah. So Google reportedly is working on this under the name DeepMind. So it's Google DeepMind.
Good code name.
Which is
DeepMind. I like it.
That's the thing coming after Gemini, or that Gemini will become, I guess. So then it leaves the question as to, are they working on this and going to leave everyone behind? It always kind of comes back to Apple in this discussion right now. And is Apple going to find themselves having to enter this space too? Because right now, the AI we're thinking of them adding is all this stuff we're already seeing kind of. And are they going to have to enter this bigger space that's kind of beyond device? That doesn't really exist on the device.
This is the bigger conversation to have about AI and where we're going. Are we going to a post-device world because of AI? And I think about this. We talked last week, and kind of disparagingly so, about the Rabbit R1 and the Humane Pen. These things, the devices that are AI devices.
Yeah.
That in the case of the Humane Pen doesn't even have a screen on it, right? And you just talk to it. And with the Rabbit R1, it can do multiple steps for you. So you show it a thing, it tells you what it is, and you go, hey, I'd like to buy that. And then it does it all for you. Can we live in a world where we are just have an earpiece in that's integrated into the AI, and we don't need multiple devices around us to do stuff because the AI can handle so much and so many hyper-specific tasks right now that we would think we need to get into a device to do? And I think probably yes. I think that's probably where all this is headed. And Apple, I think if you look at even on the spatial computing side and the AR side and Vision Pro of it all, I think Apple sees this. I think Apple's preparing right now for the post-smartphone world, and what that's going to mean. And this AI stuff is a massive part of it.
Definitely. If you want to go there as well, the Elon Musk view is that people have asked them, like, why doesn't Tesla make a phone? You know, that kind of thing. And he's just like, phones are already obsolete, basically. Yep. He sees Neuralink as the thing, because it's just a brain interface that everyone can get. And then you're just thinking about things and then operating and using AI and all of this stuff. And that, yeah, again, there's no device besides like a little interface thing.
Well, and then I think about, like, right now, how you would use your phone throughout the day, right? Like, let's say when we're deciding what time we're going to shoot, right? You'll text me something along the lines of, hey, are you on your way, right? Do I need to see that, and do I need to respond to that, or can an AI do all that for me, right? Like, if I have an AI integrated into my life, it knows I'm driving towards you. It knows how far I am away, right? So all of a sudden, you can be talking to me, but you're really talking to this AI thing that is always with me and knows what's going on with me. I don't need a phone to reply to you, right? I don't even need to know what's going on. And maybe the AI lets me know. It's like, oh, hey, I just told Ryan that you're on your way. And I'm like, thanks, AI.
Yeah, you would need to know what's being communicated about you, but yeah.
But in some cases not, right? Like, really great AI can just figure out what I need to know now and what I would need to know maybe at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, it goes, oh, hey, by the way, I sent those tax forms to your AI accountant. And you're like, oh, thanks, assistant AI, you can, so, and then you can do all these things again without a device. And it's just all happening in the ether or the cloud, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's just you're not having to pull out a brick of a thing to communicate and to deal with your life.
Yeah, instead of stacking up devices like a watch and a phone and an iPad and a computer and a vision and all this stuff, it's just maybe one future thing. Maybe it's a rabbit, but
maybe probably not.
Yeah. But another thing we're seeing is from Microsoft, their big AI moves. And to me, this kind of brings up this question of, what is AI going to mean for companies in the future, and like monopolies and competition and all this stuff? Because essentially Microsoft is buying up a lot of talent. They just hired some people from the company AI startup Inflection. That's like a $4 billion startup. They're super well known. And they hired 2 different co-founders. One of them is heading the Microsoft AI operations. One of them is also joining Microsoft. And they're considered like this coveted team of AI experts. And it's really interesting to see, because they also have their partnership with OpenAI. And so this is clearly not just like they're buying them and it's not a partnership, but it's this way potentially around it to be using all this talent to still be part of Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, there's essentially a gold rush type situation happening in the AI world right now between talent and tech, and then the companies with deep pockets like Microsoft, like Apple. We've mentioned before, Apple up to 34, 33. I forgot what our number was, but 30-something companies they have bought in the AI space in the last year and a half, whatever it is. Yeah, this is no surprise that. And I think what these companies do is, when you have this kind of money, you can kind of spread your bet around, right? It's like, oh, well, take Microsoft. It's like, oh, we have this huge investment in OpenAI, but we still got a lot of money left over. Let's go buy some other stuff. Maybe some other guys are going to think of something better, or it's going to have some breakthrough that OpenAI won't, and then we're covering our bases. Yeah, this is going to keep happening really for the foreseeable future. The AI hype train is a long way from peaking, and it certainly will, like all other hype trains do eventually. But we're years away from that, because the kind of breakneck pace of innovations is going to start happening more and more and more, especially if you think about how much AI has grown in the last 2 years. And what I mean by that is consumer-facing AI, things like ChatGPT, Stable Diffusion, Midjourney, whatever, things that people can actually just use in their homes, Gemini, everything else, Copilot. It is massively, massively grown and improved in the last year and a half, 2 years max, right? So it's like, and that's before these companies really started getting into it, right? Like these were small research divisions or small startups 3 years ago, and now we're talking billions and billions of dollars. They dwarf almost any other company. If it wasn't in tech, this AI division in Microsoft would be bigger than anything else in the world, right? It's just tech is so big that even a big thing seems small. Yeah, this is just going to keep happening.
And we're seeing the growth. Another way you can see the growth is Nvidia, because they've been ahead on chips and everything for AI, knowing that this was coming, and they've grown so much, and it's because the hardware is necessary for all this AI expansion that we're seeing.
If nothing else, Nvidia maybe could be, and maybe this will be how when historians look back on this, and they'll go, the world ending started with Nvidia or something like that. But Nvidia seems to be the smartest people in this space right now for a lot of reasons. Well, and by smartest, I mean the people making the wisest business decisions. They were kind of saw the writing on the wall, put in place the manufacturing and the hardware technology that they knew people were going to need with these chips to do AI stuff. And they're getting into their own AI models or own AI products, I guess maybe is a better word for it, with I forgot the name of it. It's like Chat GTX or something. I'm butchering that name, but it's some kind of like name. They're essentially, and they're using several different language models in the system
on device.
Yeah. So yeah, they're in a great place. So Nvidia, super smart. Wish I would have bought Nvidia stock 3 years ago.
Yeah. I think a lot of people wish they would have bought Nvidia a long time ago. But it obviously raises questions for Apple and what's coming up. Are they going to be kind of left behind, kind of just living off of their previous successes, or are they about to blow everyone's minds at WWDC? It could fail. It could succeed. We'll have to see.
Fingers crossed for the mind blowing.